What's going on, golf addicts, the Tour Junkies with you? Pat rocking the old school TJ shirt there, bud. Look at
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That is the
Gain
first ever Tour Junkie shirt.
gain your edge.
Gain your edge, baby.
Yeah.
That's what we do. You look good, man. DB here, ready to get it going for the Waste Management Phoenix Open 2021. It's the People's Open, live from TPC Scottsdale. We're going to have a great show for you tonight. A lot of fun stuff going on. Pat, my podcast shoot tonight, I'm mixing it up a little bit. It's a nice, very cool evening here in Augusta, Georgia. I have a blood orange bourbon Manhattan tonight.
That sounds delicious. Well, you know what? I got a side bay. I got a side bay tonight, DB.
I've had one of those, yeah.
Do you know what a side bay is?
Oh, I do, my brother. That's an IPA from Wild Leap. That's some good
That's
stuff.
right. Little
Double
side
IPA,
bay.
I think. Yeah.
Double IPA this week. Mm-hmm.
Love me a double IPA. We're going to have a great time tonight. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and give it a thumbs up because we know you're going to like it. If you're already in here, you're going to like it. Just give it a thumbs up, okay? Give it a thumbs up. We're going to have a good time. All right, we got some fun stuff. First of all, I do have to go ahead and do this for everybody.
Oh, beautiful. Look at that. Just, that's majestic. That is a majestic t-shirt you're wearing right there.
For those of you not watching on YouTube or possibly visually impaired, I am showing my Ryder Cup Captain America Patrick Reed t-shirt that we made after he handily won on a very controversial weekend at Torrey Pines for the Farmers Insurance Open. We were all over it, but not on him at all. So had a little sweat going into Sunday. You know, every week of 2021, a good sweat, Pat. We had the runner-up. We had Joaquin Neiman at the Tournament of Champions. Then we had maybe we didn't have anybody at the Sony, but then we hit Siwoo Kim at the Amex. And then going into Sunday, we had Carlos Ortiz at 100-1, and we had Adam Scott, who just both of them completely just obliterated their drawers in a awful way.
Yeah, it wasn't very good, but you know what? At least we had a little action going into Sunday. And that's what happens. It's golf, and Torrey Pines is such a difficult course. You know, it's just like when you have a really great lineup in DFS and you're looking great on Saturday night, especially on these tough courses. You can't count any of your money yet. You can't. My dad always told me, "Don't count your money. Don't count your money." And yeah,
and the song says, "You better count your money." Remember, Bone Thugs redid that song. Yeah, it was a good week, fun week, a lot of controversy. We're going to talk more about the Patrick Reed situation at the end of the podcast. We're going to have a chunk and run segment tonight. We're going to talk about our favorite Patrick Reed moments, possibly riff on what happened, although you can go to many different places and get opinions on what happened. And we're also going to talk about maybe what we would cheat on in our everyday life if we could cheat on something and get away with it. We're going to talk about that in honor of Mr. Patrick Reed. I got to give a shout out to our boy Ben Little. Chalk Bomb Ben continues to crush it on the Chalk Bomb game. Hideki Matsuyama was a Chalk Bomb this week, finished T53. So since the Chalk Bomb started in 2021, we've had 2 missed cuts and a T53. That is pretty dang good for those of you keeping score at home. If you're not already subscribed, I'm not really sure. Also, the 10 key stats that we post for free on tourjunkies.com every single week. 10 key stats is the place to start your research. It's the first article we release on Tuesday mornings. Had Patrick Reed's name in it 4 times. He was all over the 10 key stats. You got to get on that free content. It's really good. It's very, very good. Yeah, so shout out to him. Good stuff, Pat. So let's get into the course breakdown. But before we do that, I'm going to give something away. I'm going to give away a piece of me, Pat. A piece of me.
Oh, a piece of you. Okay.
Yeah, I got I'm opening my chastity belt right now for the listeners. I got a new set of irons. I'm happy to say I have a new set of Mizuno irons. They're beautiful and they're very shiny, and they don't have marks all over the toe yet. But I have my old irons, and I just want to give them to a listener. I just want to give my old irons to a listener. And you know what? You may be like, dude, that's the cheapest thing I've ever heard of. You hand-me-down irons, like, give me a break. And you know what? You're probably right, but we've given away a ton of nice stuff on the show. So it's time we give, like, more consignment shop stuff. So I have a new set of irons. I'm going to tell you about it. I'm going to show you the irons right now in this quick video. Producer Sam, you can fire the video. Yo, what up, TJ? I am giving away my old irons. I just got new irons. I'm giving these bad boys away. They're the 2017 TaylorMade forged P770s. Okay, they look real nice still. All right, I got a 4-iron through pitching wedge. They all have these brand new Golf Pride red grips, tour wraps, and they all have these Nippon. Nippon Modus Pro shafts, Tour 120s. These are the Nippon Tour 120s. Extra stiff, okay, so a little bit faster swing speed here for most of you. You're going to need that. I would say anybody from like a 5-4 handicap all the way up to maybe a 15, if you swing hard enough, could benefit from these bad boys. I'm going to give them away. I've cleaned them up for you. I'm going to ship them to you for free. And yeah, they all look nice. There's no like major issues with them. You can tell I got that one on the toe a little bit more often than I would like to. But anyway, they're all about 1 degree upright, standard length, standard lofts. Yeah, extra stiff. I think that's it. So yeah, you know what to do.
Okay, those are my irons. Now, they're not even 4 years old, Pat. Those things are not even 4 years old. I've hit a lot of good shots with those things, and I think there's probably still a lot more left in there. Can I add into this package?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even tell you that.
There's more?
Yeah, there's more. So I'm about to I have purchased a new driver. And so I have a TaylorMade M3 driver that's only a couple years old that I will throw in. I've got another thing that I will throw in, DB, that I didn't even talk to you about, but I'm going to do it anyway. We have some Masters t-shirts, 2020 Masters t-shirts. I will throw in one of those into the package as well.
Oh my God. He on X Games mode.
Oh man, Pat, that is amazing, my man. What a sweet deal. God, this thing is getting sweet. Okay. So you got now the problem is, you know, a senior citizen would need Pat's driver, but a strong, healthy young man that maybe swings it a little bit is going to use my iron. So what I'll do is I'll put in one of my extra stiff shafts. If somebody needs one, I'll put it in your driver shaft. Pat, I'll let you have my extra stiff shaft.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Okay. Anyway,
I don't know where to go from there.
We'll work it out. We probably should have stressed these are all right-handed clubs. Now, if you're a lefty, here's the deal, though. If you're a lefty or you don't even need these clubs, you could still win them and sell them. If we see you turning around and selling them, we're not going to be mad at you. You can make some money off of it, okay? Here's all you got to do to win. You got to go and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. That's all it takes. If you've done it before, I bet you haven't done it in the last 6 months. You can do it again. And we need you to write a review. You're going to leave a 5-star review, and you're going to write something nice. Don't be jackwagons, okay? Write something nice about why you like the show, and we're going to pick our favorite ones, and our favorite one, and you're going to win the clubs, okay? Go on Apple Podcasts, leave a review. If you don't have an iPhone, if you're an Android person, first of all, you have bigger issues, but second of all, find somebody with an Apple account and do it, okay? And then I'll read the screen name or whatever. We'll draw from the screen name, and I'll read that in a few weeks, and we'll let everybody know who the winner is. That's all you got to do. If you have questions, feel free to DM us, slide in the DMs. It's going to be a good time. But, yeah, I'm excited about giving away my clubs. I'm also going to send them to you in the Mizuno box that my new ones came in. So you're going to be like, whoa, wait, huh? And then you're going to get TaylorMades. Good stuff. We're just giving away free stuff. You know, we're good guys like that. Here we go, Pat. This week, TPC Scottsdale Waste Management Phoenix Open. Pretty deep field. I'm excited about the field here. You got a lot of big names, though, going over to Saudi Arabia for the Raise Our Gas Prices Open over there. You got DJ, Bryson DeChambeau, our boy Patrick Reed just went over there for the old Saudi money grab. So there's definitely a lot of action over on the European Tour. Our buddy Ash Morrison, who writes our free Euro Tour article every week on TJ.com, will have one up this week for sure. You know, it could be fun. Could be a fun week on DK. Could be a fun week to maybe bet some doubles if your books let you do that. You know, winner for the waste management, winner for the Saudi. Could be fun, but we're only going to talk about the waste management this week. That's where all the action is for the most part on DK. So with that, Pat, tell us a little bit about TPC Scottsdale.
Yes, let's go TPC Scottsdale. Going to be a little bit different atmosphere this year. They are letting a few fans in, but it's not going to be the same as we typically see. But I bet you all that par 3 16 is going to be rocking a little bit. But it is playing just over 7,200 yards. It's a par 71. You got Bermuda grass, tee to green. Now, they do typically overseed it here. Got to get it, it's the waste management. They like things green out there. So they got to get it looking green. These and the greens themselves are going to be overseeded, but they put some POA on there. So that'll be interesting to kind of hear. Maybe when we get to the Nut Hut on Wednesday, we can talk a little bit more about how these greens are putting. You got 132 players in the field, top 65, and ties will make the cut. Scoring is typically pretty low in this tournament. I mean, depending on the weather, I think it looks good so far. Might be a little bit chilly, but I still think you're going to get a good scoring this week. Three par fives that are all between 560 and 575 yards. So they are definitely gettable. That is what you got to do well here that I'm looking at. You got to score on these par fives. You also got, several long par fours out here. 6 of the 11 par fours are between 450 and 500 yards. Look, make no mistake about it. This is a bomber's course for sure. They can take advantage of it. There's not a whole lot of trouble off the tee. The rough is never all that big of a deal. The greens are pretty large out here. So, I mean, they're very easy to hit. So, and they typically run pretty firm and fast also. I'm going to be focused on your good ball strikers that can bomb it out there, that can just attack this course, especially on the par fives. And you look at it, there's a stretch from about hole 13 to 17 with 2 par fives. And then you got that drivable par 4, 17th, that is one you can score on. So I'm definitely looking at your scores this week. And course history shows up a little more than usual as well on this course. I think that's something that's important, and always looking at recent form. We got a deep field here. It's a good one. Looking at your past champs, we had Webb Simpson at 17 under last year, Ricky Fowler at 17 under in 2019. 2018 was Gary Woodland at 18 under. Hideki won 2 years in a row in 16 and 17. And old Brooks Koepka, who is just getting driven further down the price range and longer odds in the betting market, won here in 2015, his first victory on tour, actually. So there you go.
Yeah, and his first time here. You had, you got him and Kyle Stanley, both first-time winners at this golf course before. So, yeah, I do think course history is a thing. But if you got enough talent, I think you could make it happen here for sure. And it is a bomber's course. In fact, Gino Bonelli told us that 2 weeks ago, right here on this very podcast. He talked about Joel lives in Scottsdale. Joel hates this golf course. It's just a bomber's course. All the forced carries, the bunker placement, the lack of rough, all the above. And, so yes, a guy like Webb Simpson can win. Granted, Webb isn't necessarily a bomber, but he definitely is not short anymore. He used to be.
He can get it out there now.
He can move it out there. He really can. So, but I mean, last year he was just so deadly with his irons, and the short game is so good. I mean, Webb's an elite talent. A guy like that can win anywhere. But in general, I do think that this place definitely favors distance, approach play, and and that's really about it. And then it comes down to who's going to putt the best and make the putts on these Bermuda greens that are larger. I don't really think strokes gained around the green or scrambling matters all that much this week. I mean, these greens are bigger, so they're a little easier to hit. If you're missing them, you're in trouble. It's not really a grinder's course like we saw last week at Torrey. It's going to be a lot of greens in regulation. That percentage is going to be a lot higher than it was last week at Torrey. So, I think that's what we're getting. For DFS, man, this is tough. Like, it is a deep field, and there's a lot of names in here that I think are going to be interesting. And ownership leverage is always important in terms of GPPs and tournaments. But I think because it's so deep, especially at the top, I think a lot of the ownership is going to be pretty spread out. I don't think we're going to have 2 to 3 guys at like 25% or more. I think we're going to have, the first 3 or 4 are going to be pretty, over 20, over 22, whatever. And then, you're going to kind of get it balanced out and evened out. So it'll be interesting to see. Lineup construction is a big deal. Speaking of lineup construction, somebody who did a really good job constructing a lineup last week is our Nut Hut Listener League winner, Chris G. Back-to-back winner, Pat, at Caliboose, whatever. Chris G. won again in the Nut Hut Listener League. So now he has 2 entries into the season final for a chance to win a trip to come play golf with us for a weekend at Champions Retreat. It's pretty cool to join the Nut Hut in the first 2 weeks, win the Listener League. So shout out to Chris G. Scored 508 DraftKings points. That's pretty solid. I mean, yeah, pretty cool. Also, shout out to our friends at Wine Access. There's a whole world of wine to discover, and it can be difficult to choose the perfect bottle. But Wine Access takes out all the guesswork. Pat, I know you've continued to enjoy your Wine Access time as you sip on your beer over there, but got any latest discoveries or experiences for us?
I think the main thing that you can take away is just their website. You know, when you go into a restaurant, and especially a fancy one, and they've got this
Ooh, I like it.
extensive wine list, and it confuses you, and you're not sure where to go, and it's just like it's a little bit intimidating. You don't get that from the Wine Access website. I mean, it's very easy to navigate it. They don't inundate you with a ton of wines. They're just good wines. They give you good information about them. You can separate by like varieties and regions. So if you want some France wine, you want some France wine, you want some Italian wine, you can go to that region.
Francois Vino.
Yeah, you want California, go to that region. So it's very easy to navigate the site, which I love. So that's the main takeaway right now. And let me tell you, there's some good wines in there.
They make it easy if you're a beginner or a connoisseur. They have a decorated team of wine experts with over 20,000 wines a year that they taste, and only about 1 of 18 make the cut. So they only select the best, those that exceed expectations and over-deliver on the price. So regardless if you're looking at $15 or a triple-digit bottle, they got you. They equip you with the knowledge and the story behind each bottle, taking all the guesswork out. They'll let you know, how long to let it breathe, what to pair it with, all that fun stuff. So you look like you know what you're talking about. And if any wine fails to impress, they will credit that bottle, no questions asked. So we want you to give Wine Access a shot. We've worked out an exclusive offer for our listeners, 20% off your first listener. That's a really good deal on these Wine Access bottles. Go to wineaccess.com/tour, and the discount will be applied at checkout. Don't forget, 20% off, wineaccess.com/tour. Thank you, Wine Access. All right, Pat. Let's get to the picks here, bud. Let's get to the picks. 9K and above on DraftKings. John Rahm, your favorite, at 11-2, then followed by Xander, JT, Rory getting on down there. You got Decky, who's won here twice. Will Zalatoris already up in the $9,000 range because he's such a freaking stud. I'm going to start a little different tonight, Pat. I'm going to throw you for a loop. What are you going to do with Hideki? You going to play him? You going to fade him? You don't really know yet. What's your call?
Right now, I'm not going to play him. I don't know if he's not my fade for this week, but I don't have him as one of my favorite plays. Look, he's an absolute stud here, but I'll be interested to see where his ownership is. I think you made a good point when you were talking about this week in strategy. I do think ownership is going to be a little more spread out because of just the way this field is. So if you get a pretty, a really low owned Hideki with his history here, I could see him definitely falling into some lineups.
But are we going
right now? The what?
Are we going to get a low-owned Hideki? I don't know. I mean,
I don't think we will, but who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, the price tag at 98, I think, is going to be an interesting one for those wanting to fade the 5-digit guys. They'll start a lot of lineups with Hideki, Berger. I think for me, it's tough to find a reason in terms of stats or obviously course history to really fade him. It may just be an ownership play, or it may just be a you can't play them all kind of play, because to me, it was really hard to nail down a fade, a call that I wanted to make in this range, 9K and above. I seriously like almost everybody in this range. It's just going to come down to ownership. It's going to come down to lineup construction. It's going to come down to, to exposure and who I want to, anchor my lineups with. So I think as of now, I'm leaving Hideki out, but he's definitely not one that I have written down here to fade. I actually want to hear from our YouTube viewers. I want you to comment on this YouTube video. Something about Hideki right here. Is he going to win at the Waste Management? Because he's won here twice. It's obviously a tournament he loves. Is he going to win here? Is he going to win somewhere else next? So next victory, is he going to win the Waste Management? Is he going to win here? Or is he never going to win again? That's what I want to know about Hideki. He's one of those we haven't seen win in a long time. He's come close. He's consistent. He's played well in majors. He has these few stops a year that he just dominates. But what do you think about Hideki? Is he going to win again or not? If so, where's he going to win? Is he going to win here? Or is he going to win somewhere else? That's what I want to know. Put it in the YouTube comments. If you're watching live, wait till the video's over. I'd be interested to know. we'll give somebody a free T-shirt for commenting. We gave away a free T-shirt last week 2 weeks ago. All right. So in this range, 3 tournament plays and a fade. Who are you going with, Pat?
Well, I'm going to start at the top. I like John Rahm at 11-2. Don't mind the price. I can find some cheaper guys that I can fit in there with them. You look at this course, it seems like such a perfect fit for John Rahm. I mean, across the board with the stats, I mean, he's top 5 in the field in ball striking off the tee, has plenty of distance. He's top 10 there. Par 5 scoring, top 10, opportunities gained, top 10. So everything about John Rahm and his game is, suitable to this course. And ever since he's played here, he's been great as far as his history here. I mean, T16 was his worst finish back in 2017, but since that, T11 and 18, T10 in 2019, and then top 10 again last year in 2020. So I just love some John Rahm this week at 11-2. I will play him. I don't care about that high price tag. And then I'll drop down to Rory at 10-6. He's a guy that has. I don't know if he's ever played here, but he is a fantastic player. Obviously, one of the best in the world. I think this is a perfect course for him. I mean, he doesn't have to really worry about all that much with his length and everything else. And now I'll be interested to see what his ownership is, being the 4th highest priced guy. I think it might end up being pretty high. But I do love some Rory on this course. And then finally, as a GPP play, I'm going with Willie Z. Yes, Will Zalatoris at 9,000. Another guy that just absolutely fits the bill on this course. You look at his stats on the Korn Ferry Tour, he pretty much just led the whole, all of the Korn Ferry Tour in like every single stat category possible. We've heard from a caddy this week or last week about how great of a ball striker and everything else he is. And then, had that top 10 finish last week at Torrey. So I love some Willie Z right there at the bottom of this category at 9,000. And then my fade is just going to be Scotty Scheffler. Like, I don't know what to expect from him. He scares me. I mean, the game just hasn't been there. When you look at, his approach play has been horrendous lately. So I just think that, there's too much risk for me to play Scheffler there at 9,100. Now, you're probably going to get him at as low owned as he's been in a while, but still, I'm still not going to play some Scheffler this week.
All right, so there's some stuff going on here. Total agreement with Scheffler. I think he was the clear name in this range to fade, and I think everyone is going to see that when it comes to DFS. Everybody's going to kind of arrive at that same thing. Scheffler seems a little broken. He can't putt. I don't like him on these big greens where 3 putts are an issue if he's not very close. And since the Tournament of Champions, he is 98th in this field in ball striking. So strokes gained off the tee, strokes gained approach. He definitely seems busted. Like, he just can't put it all together and be consistent. And for the price, you do need more than a made cut out of Scheffler. So you need that top 15, top 20 at worst performance out of him at that price tag. So it's tough, man. I don't know what's going on. He's so talented. He's so talented, but he's not. Something's not going on. Something's not right. We need to do a "What's Wrong with Scotty Scheffler" segment.
Yeah, well, that happens in the golf world. I mean, look, they're not always going to be on. So.
Now, I think you underplayed the Willie Zalatoris conversation from the caddy, because there has to be a little extra context here. Everybody knows.
I was going to let you provide.
You didn't know I was going to do that.
I opened the door for you to do that.
Listen, the caddy, unprompted, not talking about Willie Zalatoris, not talking about anybody, unprompted, said, "Let me just tell you, this boy is legit. He is incredible tee to green. Only weakness has to be putting, but only because his ball striking is so phenomenal." And basically said, this kid's going to be playing in the Tour Championship at Eastlake and winning a major in the next 18 months, basically, is what they said. Now, Will Zalatoris being a stud is not new news. Like, everyone's talking about Will Zalatoris and has been for a while. So this is not new, but it just, when more and more people are laying eyes on him, he continues to consistently perform the way he has. It's rather impressive. I wrote him down here too as a GPP play, and I do think he's going to be high owned at 9,000. He's got a lot of upside. He can win here. The length is a huge advantage. The par 5s, the ball striking. All that is super attractive here. So, but I do love his play here, and the fact that you, me, and our caddy friend are all together. You know what that is?
It's been proven in science.
It's been proven in science. That's Nick Faldo on the Squares golf shoes commercial. Shout out to, I believe, Marcus Griffin for that suggestion. So it's just proven science. All right, let's see. I also am going to go with, this is tough because I really like the low 7K range, and the 6K range is full of names. So I think you can definitely go any way you want. You can load up in the balance approach here because I think this field is deep enough. If you want to go balance, you can go balance. If you want to go studs and duds and play Rory and Rahm, like Pat just mentioned, I definitely think there's plenty of names in the 6K and low 7s that you can roll with that give you winning upside even. So it's tough to do. I'm having a hard time. I think I'm going to go with Xander, and pivot there a little bit and go to Xander at where is he? 11-1, your second price. I think he's going to maybe be a little bit lost up there. People are either going to pay the extra $200 for Rahm with incredible history and all that stuff coming into it, or they're going to say, oh, wow, I get Justin Thomas at a discount or Rory at a discount over Xander. Sure, sign me up. So I think I'm going to get some leverage with, in terms of ownership with Xander up here at $11,000. I don't think people are going to want to pay for him over JT and Rory. And then I'm going to go to Sung J M at 90. No, I'm sorry, not Sung J. Daniel Berger at 9,600. I'm all in on Berger. I know he posted a video on his boat on Instagram. That's just strokes gain home life. He had like a little Bryson-esque like drone footage and like music behind it kind of video of him on the boat this past week. It was rather interesting, but
I feel like whenever he posts, that's all he does is post him on the boat.
That's what he loves. That's what he loves to do.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
I also think he loves playing on Bermuda grass because I think he skips the events where he doesn't have Bermuda, and he shows up at the ones he does. Like, I'm not really sure why he didn't play Torrey last week because he's going to be playing in the U.S. Open. It probably would have been a decent chance to take a look at it. At least get familiar putting on those greens a little bit, even though I know they're going to be faster for the Open. But Berger loves him some Bermuda, and we arrived back on Bermuda here. I know it's overseeded a little bit, but I think it rolls like Bermuda. So I'm going to go with Xander, Berger, and Zalatoris in terms of tournament plays. And then, I'm with you. Scheffler's the fade for sure. Okay. Let's move to the 8K range. This one's pretty simple for me. I'm not as big a fan of the 8K range, so it was pretty easy. I actually think for the first time in a long time, I'm going to pull the trigger on Ricky Fowler. I think I'm going to do it. Pretty sure I'm going to do it. If I'm playing in the 8K range, if I'm not, if I'm going studs and duds, I'm probably skipping this range altogether. But if I'm going to go a little balanced, if I'm going to play a cash lineup, I think I'm going to play Ricky. He's coming around a little bit with the ball striking. His iron play has been good the last two events. Off the tee, he's been doing well. I mean, off the tee in the last two events, he's gained 6 strokes total. And with approach, he's gained 3 total. All of a sudden the putter's broken, which is wacky. I don't understand that at all. But if you look at this place, if you look over the last 5 years, the number one strokes gained putting person in the whole field is Ricky Fowler. Number one in this entire field in the last 5 years putting on this golf course. On this golf course, he is number one. So, I mean, what better place to come to when the ball striking's coming around, you're confident, you've got good vibes here. The flat sticks let you down a little bit, but now you're at a place where you've completely lit it up over the last 5 years on the greens. I'm going to go with Ricky Fowler, and then I'm going to go back to the well. He had some kind of Jekyll and Hyde rounds, but I'm going to go back to Gary Woodland this week. Definitely disappointed a little bit after, I think, a strong round one. Ended up finishing T48 at the Farmers, but he had like a couple just tough rounds. He's won this event before. Obviously a great record here. So I think I'm going to roll with Gary Woodland and Ricky. And then my fade is going to be Billy Horschel. I don't understand the Billy Horschel love. I continue to not really understand the Billy Horschel love at the price tag that we've been getting Billy Horschel. Now, he does have a decent record here, but I'm not really seeing a whole lot out of him right now. He's lost strokes on approach 7 out of his last 8 events. He's not a bomber by any means. miscut last week, and I just don't know that he gives you the win equity. He hasn't won. It's almost been 4 years since he's won an event. Like, I don't. No distance. Irons have been bad. I think one of the events he played well in recently, maybe it been the Sony. He gained like 7 strokes on the greens. So that's not really repeatable for Billy. So I think Billy's my fade.
All right. Well, there is some agreement here on Ricky Fowler. I was a little bit surprised that you went that direction, but I do like Ricky. He is one of my GPP plays as well. And like you said, his numbers are improving. When it comes to his ball striking and his approach game, the putter is where the problem has been. And you know what? As we all know with golf, and you get on a comfortable place that you like he seems to do well here. That putting could come back for him. So I think that Ricky is a good play there at 8,600. I'm also going to go back to Bubba. Now, you mentioned one of the narratives you had last week was you didn't like to play guys that had been coming off of a longer break, and this was their first tournament back. And I think that I liked him last week, and I think I took him on the show. Well, now he's had a little bit of, he's been back. He's had, got a few rounds under his belt. He did miss a cut last week.
He got 2 rounds under his belt.
Two rounds, missed a cut. Okay. Now he's on the course that he's got good course history on. He's number 1 in the field in ball striking, 4th off the tee, 10th in approach. He's 4th in par 5 scoring. So I like Bubba. I think this is a course where he certainly can play well on. Maybe we'll get a little bit lower ownership because of that miscut last week. So I will play him at 8,500. And then my fade is Wolf at 8,700. I can't even believe that he's in this field after withdrawing last week, unless he withdrew and I didn't know it. And I'm looking at it, and
it is interesting. I was going to talk about Brooks and Wolf up here at the top. I think you can't really skip the 8K range and not talk about these names. Matt Wolf cites a hand injury last week, which I think is definitely something to keep an eye on. I don't love that.
He was spraying it all over the place off the tee. That has been a huge issue for him.
Yeah. So either he really has a hand injury, and that was maybe why he was spraying it all over the place, or he, tour players sometimes when they're playing bad, they just make up. You know what I mean? So maybe that happened. I don't know. I am a little surprised to see him here. It'll be interesting to see if he makes it to a press conference this week and we can hear him talk about it. But for me, it's definitely kind of stay away territory. Although I love this place for him.
I think this is a perfect course for him, but he really hasn't. The 2 years he's played, now one of them he was an amateur, but still he hasn't played that great here. But I still think it's a great track for him.
Is there any ownership amount that would put you on Brooks?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, what's the number? What's it got to drop below?
I mean, if he's in like 5% range or something, so if he's like below like 7 or 8, I'll say I'll go Brooks. I even like him as a bet. I mean, he's all the way up to like 55-1.
Yeah, that's long. That's long. He last week it wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't like Brooks-esque, but it wasn't awful. It'll be tempting. It's always tempting when Brooks drops below that 7-8%. It's always tempting. Okay, let's move on to the 7K range, Pat. I'm going to have you start this range. I got to go pour me another one.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start with a guy that I have not talked about this year. And at the very top here in the 7K range, Corey Connors at 7,900. I like him this week. When I run my little stat model or whatever you want to call it. I hate saying the word model, but anyway, he is second in the field overall. When you look at, he is top 10 in ball striking off the tee, 21st in approach. He's second in good drives gained. He is 16th in par 5 scoring, 6th in opportunities gained, has plenty of distance. I love some Corey Connors this week. I think he is a good play. I'll be interested to see where his ownership is, but I don't think it's going to be all that much. This range is so spread out with some really good plays that you could go here and almost any, there's so many of them that I could really take. So, but I'm only picking 3 GPPs and 1 fade. I'm also going to go with our boy Norlander. I mean, we saw him last week play really well. I'm going to, he's riding a streak. He's got, let's see, 2 straight top 20 finishes. Is that right? All right there. Yeah. 2 straight top 15 finishes with a 12th at the Amex and a second last
the
week.
Amex. The Amex?
American Amex. Anyway, I like Norlander. You know, he's 14th in the field off the tee, 28th in approach. This is a guy, he putts well on these greens. So I like Norlander as well, also at 7,500.
He did talk about too on our interview with him that he feels like his third and fourth week in a row, which is very uncommon for most tour players. He feels like his third or fourth week in a row is where he feels like he plays his best, which I think last week was the third. Last week was the third. So this is the fourth.
Yeah, so there you go. And then I'm going to drop down to
anybody.
Corey Connors.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Corey Connors at 7,900. And then I'll drop down. There's so many guys here really that I would love to talk about. But I'm gonna throw out Benny on at 7,300. We saw him with the top 10 at the Amex. At the Amex just a few weeks ago. But a great ball striker. I love where he's at when it comes to that. When you look at over his last 24 rounds on Fantasy National, top 20 in the field in opportunities gained, which is a scoring stat, by the way, on Fantasy National, proprietary to that site that I love to look at and on scoring tracks like we should see this week. So, you know, Benny on, now the putter's always a question mark for him, but I'm going to take a little bit of the risk there and play him in GPPs. And then my fade is going to be Matt Kuchar. He's got fantastic course history here.
Yeah.
But if you look at last year and anything leading up to where we are now, he has shown nothing, no bit of form ever. So I can't play some Matt Kuchar, even if you're just looking at it, you're a course history guy, which everybody knows I am. He's got fantastic course history here. But based on the form, his stats, everything else, I'm not going to play Kuch. So there you
go. Yeah, you know, and some of y'all need to stop smoking cigarettes. You know what I mean? And some of y'all need to stop smoking, hitting the jewel pen and the weed pen. And this is what we call in the biz a really sick transition. Okay, we want to tell you about our friends at Lucy Nicotine. They are founded by some Caltech scientists, and those are some really nice scientists. Those are high performing scientists, and they're former smokers too. Them scientists used to smoke some stuff. They used to puff on some stuff, and they were looking for a better and cleaner nicotine alternative. And finally, now tobacco alternatives don't have to suck. So they researched and developed this for 3 years, made for the people, not patients. Lucy has created a nicotine gum, 4 milligrams of nicotine, not 3, 4. And it comes in 3 flavors: wintergreen, cinnamon, and pomegranate. I personally would love some pomegranate. I love pomegranate.
Some pomegranate gum.
Yeah. They also have a lozenge with 4 milligrams of nicotine, and that's cherry ice. You want some cherry? You want some ice? You get cherry ice and 4 milligrams of nicotine. Each and every flavor tastes great. It's convenient and discreet. They can be enjoyed anywhere. You know what I mean? So look, if you may have a friend, I got a friend who smokes. You know, Pat used to smoke, but you don't. Or I would give you some Lucy gum, but maybe you could buy some, put it in a stocking stuffer or something. Christmas just passed, but maybe save it up, put it in a stocking, give it to a friend discreetly. Just drop it in their glove box. Maybe if you're embarrassed to give it to them or something, maybe they'll find it and be like, man, I needed this. But it's 2021. It's time to get rid of cigarettes, unplug the vape, throw the dip out. Don't get that lip hitter. You don't need that. Get some Lucy nicotine gum. A subscription to Lucy comes directly to your door each month. It's simple, and you don't have to leave your house. They got delivery down. Go to lucy.co and use promo code Tour Junkies to get 20% off all your products, including gum and lozenges. That's Lucy. Lucy.co and use promo code Tour Junkies at checkout. Also,
oh god, that was funny.
Also, I'm required to read this disclaimer. Warning: this product contains nicotine derived from tobacco. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. But anyway, Lucy.co, and be sure to use promo code Tour Junkies. You know, get that dip out your face. Nobody likes that. Your girl don't like dipping. She just doesn't. I'm just gonna let you know right now. In the South, that's the thing. You know, people down here, they like to put dip in their mouth. 99 out of 98 girls don't like that. I'm just going to tell you right now. They might put up with it, but they don't like it. I'm just going to let you know. Where are we? 7K picks?
Yes.
Is it my turn? Dude,
I think we need a read like that. You know, we need a nicotine read or like some CBD read or something like right before the 7K range all the time.
I don't know.
Although CBD doesn't have that real stuff in it, you know, like nicotine, like this
Yeah.
nicotine gum does.
Yeah. After that,
It doesn't have that good stuff that's going to help you.
I might. I might need a lozenges though pretty soon.
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
You might.
All right, 7K picks. Man, this is hard AF. This is harder than quitting smoking, is picking a guy in a 7K range. I never smoked before, but it would be hard. It would be harder to nail down 3 guys in the 7K range and the 6K range, honestly, than to quit smoking. I will say my favorite standout play when I scroll this range is Max Homa. I love the way he's playing right now. I love the confidence he's playing with right now. He's trending nicely. He's played twice here in the last 2 years, T26 the first time, T6 the next time. That was last year. You know, his last 3 events, T12, T21, T18 last week. And he just kind of, you know, he's having like one round that's not super great, but the ball striking is there. The ball striking has been good here. In this field over in those 2 years he played, he ranks 23rd in strokes gained putting on these greens. The ball striking's there. The confidence is there. This is a great event for a guy like Max to win. I love him in the 7K range. I like him a lot. He was the easy one. Okay, Burns is also pretty easy for me. Give me Sam Burns on Bermuda again. Give me Sam Burns, who still could have won the thing last week, not on Bermuda. He just totally crapped down his leg again on Sunday, finished T18. But now he doesn't have a great record here. He's missed 2 cuts. But I feel like Sam Burns has definitely grown as a player. We've seen that. If you're paying enough attention, you've seen Sam Burns, you know, running up leaderboards here in the last 12 months. Okay, so I feel like he's a different player coming into this year than he is right now, and I feel good about it. He hits the ball a long way and loves Bermuda. That's the combination. Now,
I feel like Burns could be a fade candidate based on ownership. I feel like he is gonna. There's gonna be a lot of people on him in this range, and because we saw it a couple weeks ago, and he just burned a lot of people. I think that could easily happen again this week. So he's a guy that I'm going to be looking at later in the week, where if I'm looking at him now, I know we talked about ownership being spread out, but if he's like over 15% owned or something like that, I may think about fading him.
He's not. I don't think he's going to be. I can't see him being over 15%. I think there's too many names in here that are going to spread it out a little bit. I see what you're saying. I do think I don't think he's going to be. He's not like a super leverage play by any means, but I think with guys like Norlander, who you mentioned, I obviously love Norlander. You know, Kuchar's course history, Ortiz playing well, Jason Day. People are going to see that name down here. I think those guys are going to eat up some of that, you know, and it may cause people to hop off. But again, I'm not really playing him as necessarily a leverage play, but I see what you're saying. We'll see how it shakes out. The next play. Oh gosh, there's like 12 names in here I like. It's so hard for me not to say Sepp Straka at 7,100. So I'm just going to say Sepp Straka at 7,100. Loved how he ended up playing. I think he had a really solid 4th round at the Farmers. Ended up T32. Yeah, he shot the round of the day. I think he shot 66 or something on Sunday to finish T32. He's played here once, missed the cut. I don't care about that. I mean, he's growing as a player right before our eyes, and he's been doing that in the last 12 months. So Sepp hits the ball a mile, aggressive player, can score on these par 5s. He's got 2 missed cuts. Is it 2 missed cuts for the whole 2020 season that started in the fall? I feel like, you know, he's a solid play. He's a great value at 7,100. I've said it over and over again already in 2021. Sepp Straka has win equity when he tees it up. He just does. He's a University of Georgia product. Georgia puts out freaking winners, okay? They just do. And I'm not trying to be a Georgia homer, but it's a high-level college program that puts out winning PGA Tour players that are ready to compete and win, and Sepp can do it. So for $7,100, you get the bomber, you get the aggressive player, you know, you get the guy coming in good form that can score on par 5s, and he truly gives you win equity. He could do it at any moment at any PGA Tour event. So I'm a big fan of the Austrian Sepp Straka. But there's a ton of names in here. The Nut Hut is going to be popping with 7K and 6K name discussions. I can tell you that on Wednesday night. Bradley says, boy is a unit. Yes, he is. He is a full-grown man. He's a full-grown man. And apparently people thinking the Burns will be chalk. I'm looking at the YouTube chat right now. People thinking Burns is going to be a little chalkier than maybe I would like. So who knows? There's plenty of names in there to pivot to. That's for sure. I'm just telling you the names I like the most right now. So my fade is going to be Jordan Spieth. I mean, I watched him last week. I watched his full round. I watched full round on Thursday. I watched probably half of his round on Friday. The irons look to be coming around. They look to be coming around, but they are average. They're very average at best. He's still total garbage off the tee, okay? And the putter is now cold. It's still cold. Miscut here in 2018 and 2019, which is about the time he started slipping. Obviously, he played really well before that, but the game started falling off like late 2018 into 2019, and he played terrible here. 7,500, I don't care. I just don't care. I don't want the madness that is Jordan Spieth. Nothing is really, he's not doing any one thing well.
It's amazing seeing that he is like, I think he's 125 to 1. I mean, it's just, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I don't think that number is wrong. It's just, or off, I guess, not wrong, but I don't think it's long. But it's just amazing to see him that long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get into the 6K range, though. I think there's some fun options here.
Ooh, fun options. All right, you'll hit me with them. I'm going to name a bunch of names here.
Okay, well, I got 3 that I'm going to give you. And I'm going to start with our boy HV3 at 67.
Why?
Coming off a miss.
Why?
You and your soundboard. I knew that was going to be one. I saw that something with that last week. I was like, that one's going to be one. DB's going to put that.
Why?
Wow. HV3?
Look, he is top 20 in the field in ball striking. Okay, not bad. Great off the tee. Has, great distance. Good on approach. I think HV3 makes a lot of sense. Yeah, he's not good last week, but again, kind of like the Bubba thing, a guy that, got a couple round under his belt, and now he's ready to go. He's shown some form here in the past. So I like HV3 at 6,700. I think, and again, a lot of these plays when we're looking in this range are a little bit of flyers, but outside of a miscut last year, he was T10 here in 2019. T38 in 2018, made the cut, T68 in 2017. So I like some HV3 here. Showed some good form last year as well. So I will play him. And then I'm going to drop down to one of your boys that you like. Maybe not this week, but you've liked him a lot in the past. And that is Keith Mitchell at 6,400. We've seen a little bit of form out of him. Has played okay recently. I especially like him on the betting side too, by the way. I think there's some good bets on him, but he's top 10 in the field off the tee, 15th in driving distance, 44th in opportunities gained. He's a good ball striker. So I like, and typically putts well on Bermuda grass. So I like Keith Mitchell at 6,400. Then I'm going to drop down. I'm going to give you a really cheap guy. Everybody loves some Willie Zalatoris. But one of the guys on the Korn Ferry Tour that a lot of people were talking about last year was Davis Riley at 6,100. He is one of your next stars, I believe, on the PGA Tour.
Another University of Georgia boy?
No, he was Alabama, I thought.
Davis Riley?
Yeah, I think Riley's Alabama. Pretty sure he's Alabama. Somebody in the chat can make sure I'm right, but I believe he is Alabama. I know he's not Georgia. But look, he was one of the longest guys on tour for the Korn Ferry Tour last year. He was top 20 there. He's top 30 in greens and regulation there. He's a great putter, and he is also he was top 5 in birdies made on the Korn Ferry Tour last year. So he's a scorer. He can putt well, greens and regulation, has plenty of length. So I think, if you want to go cheap, Davis Riley makes a lot of sense this week. I like him.
Yeah, Alabama boy confirmed for sure. 6,100. I hadn't been that low in a in a long time. It's been a many moons where I've been that low, but I might go that low. I might go down on Davis Riley, honestly, this week. Yeah, that's good. Well, I'm going to give you more than 3 names because I love some names down here. I like the people want the 6K names. They want them. They want the cheap guys they can put with the ones they like up top. I am going to start with a guy that I think is going to give you some leverage. I don't see him being super high owned at all. Well, I mean, most 6K guys aren't really high owned, but even for a 6K guy, I think Matt Jones is an interesting play here. If you look at just play at TPC Scottsdale in the last 5 years, he ranks 24th in this field in ball striking and 5th in putting on these greens. And recently, playing pretty good. I mean, T11 at the Sony, T21 at the Amex, T48 at the Farmers. I don't love the trend, but it's a little different golf courses. And Matt Jones hits it a long way. He can score on the par 5s. I like Matt Jones here. I think he gives you some interesting value down there at 6,900. Right there above him or right there with him. Now is the time you jump on Dylan Fratelli. I talked about it last week. I think you already mentioned it here. Guys playing for the first time in 2021. That was last week for him. He didn't do so great. What did he do? He made the cut, but he sucked. He finished T53. Okay. But Fratelli has played here one time, finished T63, not great, but he's added a ton of distance in the last year, so he's hitting it a long way. So I think Fratelli is one that we saw really play well last year and up the game. The ball striking is there. I think he gives you win equity. He's a winner on the PGA Tour. He gives you win equity at 6,900. He can do that. So I think he's interesting. I'm going to move down to 6,700. I like my boy Harry Higgs. He hits it a long way. This feels like a tournament for Harry Higgs. We're not getting all the fans. We're not getting the 100,000 fans that we're used to at TPC Scottsdale, but this is still going to be, kind of the people's open, right? That's what they call it. Harry Higgs is a man of the people, right? Like this is a thing for him. It's why Ricky does well. I don't know why Hideki won here, but anyway, this feels like a great event for him. He finished T25 his first time out last year. I think Higgs is an interesting move. One of my favorite plays. Let me get to him so I can make sure I talk this up right. And I haven't talked about him a lot at all this year. I know we've got some fans of him in the Nut Hut. In fact, I think our boy AC is a big fan of this guy. He's a University of South Carolina product, Mr. Matt Naismith, ball striker. Okay, hits it a long way. All right, Naismith hits it a long way. He's never played here. This is his first time out. T48 at the Farmers. But that's coming off of a couple missed cuts, whatever. Gain strokes putting on Bermuda, which I'm happy about. Last week at the Farmers, 6.6 strokes gained with his irons, hitting into those small freaking greens at Torrey Pines in those conditions, gained 6.6 strokes with the irons. Daddy likes, okay? What he didn't do at the Farmers is he didn't really gain any distance on the field. He lost strokes on distance, lost strokes for hitting it in the fairway, which is unusual for him because he hits it a long way. If you look at his distance gained, which is a fantasy national stat, he's usually checking the boxes there. He scores on par 5s. I really like Matt Naismith here at 6,500. I think there's some good, scrumptious value for him. You mentioned Davis Riley. I kind of like that. I mean, what are we going to do? I mean, JB Holmes, like I think that's really cheap for a guy with his record here, $6,400. He's got an amazing record here. Just in the last 5 years, he's gained 23 strokes total in the last 5 years at this golf tournament. He shook the rust off last week. Okay, in the last 5 years, playing at TPC Scottsdale, he's 25th in the field in strokes gained ball striking, 53rd in strokes gained putting, 13th in DraftKings points scored, 5th in off the tee. Like, he loves this place. This is his place. But I think last week, you just saw him come out playing a tough course, tough conditions. Like, I can't imagine playing Torrey Pines having not played a lot of golf, any tournament golf at all since October. That would be tough, right? And it wasn't like he really, really sucked at anything. He didn't even lose a full stroke off the tee. He only lost a half a stroke on his irons. He lost almost a full stroke putting, but that's normal for him. So, like, it was just a very average 2 rounds to shake the rust off. And now he comes to a place that he absolutely loves for that cheap. I think JB Holmes gives you a ton of win equity too. I love this range, and this is going to be the reason why I'm probably going to play a lot of studs up top.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind JB Holmes, but I think
JB Hames.
he's got. And doesn't he have a new caddy on the bag too?
Yes. I don't care.
Who is it? I can't remember who it is. We heard that though.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of guys in this range that you can come on to that I think could be interesting. But I liked your Higgs pick. I think there's something to that, and I love some Fratelli. As a matter of fact, I may give a little preview there that I might have Fratelli in some bets. So
that's what they call in the biz a tease. We're going to get right into it right now with the sports bet picks, the early outright looks, the early top 20 looks. I've got some, as always, I've got some bombs, right? We want to talk bombs here. We're not into this pansy, I mean, anybody can say I'm going to bet Rory at 10-1. Like anybody can tell you that, or I'm going to play Xander at 12-1 or what are we doing? We're not here for that. We're here for the mid-range, the bombs. That's what we're here for. That's what we do. That's what we deliver. We deliver it well. Okay. That's what we're doing. And that's what we're doing right now. Pat, I ask you this every week, your shortest number that you'd like to look at, your putter to the ankle. If you miss it, if he doesn't win, somebody's going to hit you in the damn ankle with a putter and it's going to ruin your day. Might ruin a couple days, honestly. So who would that be in the betting markets right now?
I'll go with the favorite, John Rahm. I do not
Come
want
on, man. After I did that whole monologue, what are we doing?
I don't care. I don't want to put this week. I don't feel like a putter coming to my ankle and hurting me. I mean, I got other things going on in the world and the real world, and I just want an easy week. So I'm going to go with John Rahm.
Blah, blah,
blah. Come on, dude. After I do all that,
you didn't say it had to be like a long shot or something. I mean, I
literally said anybody can give you a favorite. I didn't even go to Rahm. I didn't think anybody was insane enough to say that on this show. We don't do that on this show, man. That's not on brand for us. Be on brand, Pat.
What you're saying? Here's what you said. Who are you going to place a bet on that you don't want to you don't want to not only lose money, but somebody's going to hit you in the damn ankle? Okay.
Yeah,
putter.
That really sucks. I can't think of a lot of things worse, but it doesn't mean they're gonna like pull your fingernails out and toss you.
I don't know. I don't know. That person may hate my ankles.
Have a little bit of balls.
They may think like I'm kind of a bony person down at the bottom of my ankles, and not like my ankle there's a lot of bone right there, and it might cause some damage. So I'm going with the favorite this week.
Well, mine would be Daniel Berger at 20-1. That's where I'm going to start it. I found him at 20-1 on PointsBet. I think that is, I think that's as long as that number is going to be. I see that number getting much shorter. I've already seen it shorter in other books. So if you can grab it on PointsBet at 20-1. So that's where I'd start it. All right. Well, I don't have anybody else until like the 40 range. So tell me who you have, Mr. This bony ankle guy. Mr. Bony ankle guy.
Well, I did have Berger at 20-1. I like that. I think that's a good play. I like my boy Willie Z, Zalatoris at 50-1. And then I'm just going to have to be a sucker and take Brooks Koepka at 55-1. I just in this mid-range.
Born every day.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take the 55-1. And whatever, if it's not going to happen, that's fine. But it's probably getting close to about as long as it's going to get for a while.
Dookie.
Okay. Let's see. I think I agree with you on Willie Z. I had him at 50-1. I think the boy's ready. The boy is ready at 50-1. I mean, can we believe Ryan Palmer's been as consistent as he's been? Like he's been.
I just can't. I don't know what it is about Ryan Palmer, but I just
want him to
go away.
I really wish he would.
This week at DFS probably because he pisses me off.
You are going to play him?
I probably will because I'm so tired of not having him in my lineups.
I mean, listen, Ryan Palmer. We've been doing this almost 6. We've been doing this 6 years. Ryan Palmer is notoriously he's in a small group. He's in a very small group of. He's in like a. He's in a really indigenous group of assholes that are known just to drive you wild and not in a sexual way. at all. No
And
homo
he's
there.
not. By the way, he's not personally an asshole.
No,
He's
no,
like
no.
he's an asshole play.
Yeah,
He's
because
going,
all signs will point to Ryan Palmer. Him and Keegan Bradley, they're all in the same range. And then he will just completely kick you he will crotch punch you on a Friday on the 36th hole. And he doesn't care about it. He doesn't care. And then the next week you fade him. And what does he do? Top fives. He's just one of these. But has he been consistent or what? I mean, since the Rona, he has been incredibly consistent. And it's like, it's really tough. I mean, last week I genuinely thought this was going to be the week to bounce off of Ryan Palmer, and he finished runner-up. Now, he also gained 8 strokes putting, which you have to go very far. I don't even know if you can go far enough. I'm scrolling to find an event. All right, the 2014 Dell, he gained as many strokes putting as he did last week. So maybe if you want to have something to cling to, maybe it's that. But he's playing so well. 45-1 DK. I don't know. That's already way too much Ryan Palmer talk. I think Gary Woodland at 75-1 on DraftKings is a pretty good value there.
I had him written down too.
Yeah, that's a solid value for Gary. Again, last week he was a Jekyll and Hyde round. Like, he'd have a great round, he'd have an average round. He had a sucky round, he had a decent round. But this is obviously a place he can win. He has won here before. 75 is a long number for a healthy Gary Woodland, I think. Max Homa, I talked about him on the DFS portion. I love Max Homa. 85-1 on DK right now. Confident, hitting it great. A lot like I said with Harry Higgs. I think this is an event that Max Homa just wins at some point, because he's a man of the people. The people love Max Homa. He loves this environment. He loves this crowd. He loves this area. So I think it just makes a lot of sense for Homa at 85-1. That's all I got up until the triple digits. You got anybody else?
No, that's it I had Woodland also. Now here's a guy that this just pisses me off that I'm even going to mention him. But Rory Sabatini has shown some some good play recently, and he's at 125-1 on PointsBet. I don't mind that. I guess I'm just jumping right into the
that's good
triple digits here. I don't mind that one. I also like Norlander, who I talked about as far as the DFS play. He's at 125-1. That's on the DraftKings Sportsbook. And then a guy that you mentioned in DFS that I really love as a bet, and that is Dylan Fratelli at 171 on the DraftKings Sportsbook.
175-1, yeah.
What did I say, 170?
171.
175-1. I was talking too fast.
Say all kinds of things.
Shit.
I'll say all kinds of things.
Get me one of these damn soundboards, DB. I'll play with that shit all day.
You wouldn't be able to figure it out for years.
No. Send me one. Go ahead and send it to me.
No, you would not figure it out. You would never.
Right, just send me a picture of it. I'm going to buy myself one and figure it out and surprise you.
No, you would not.
And last, now I've got a few top 10s and top 20 bets, but
don't get into those yet.
Last, I'll go with some Keith Mitchell 300-1. There you go.
Wow. Okay. Let me tell you what's a steal on DK right now, if it's still there. Now, I looked at this like an hour ago. If you can get Brendan Steele at 125-1 on DraftKings right now, you got to jump on that. Every other book, he's less than 100-1. PointsBet, he's 80-1. He is a steal on DraftKings right now. No pun intended whatsoever. Hasn't played great here the last couple of years, but has a good record here before that. If you think about his skill set, long hitter, plays well on par fives. Yeah, he's got a T3 here in 2018. That was the last time he played well. He's missed the cut after that, but he loves this place. T21 at the Amex, should have won the Sony. I think Brendan Steele at 125-1 is probably, that's probably like the best value on the board. He's 8-1 to top 10 on DraftKings. Producer Sam informed us. 8-1 to top 10. That's a very long number on a top 10 for Brendan Steele. Definitely a value there. goodwill gold mine there for old Brendan Steele. I like your Fratelli call at 175 to 1. Right there at 175 to 1. I also like Sepp Straka. All the reasons I mentioned there. Bomber, loves the par fives, playing well, low round of the day, Sunday at the Farmers, at Torrey, obviously striking it well, loads of confidence. Love that. Wyndham Clark was your first round leader here last year at 10 under on Thursday. JB Holmes was 8 under on that Thursday. But Wyndham Clark playing well, trending nicely, looking for that first tour win, 175 to 1. PXG guy, home of PXG right there.
I love Wyndham.
I know
I've
you
been
did.
all over Wyndham the last few weeks.
I know you have. PXG guy right there in Scottsdale. Bob Parsons right there. He'd love to win in front of Papa Bob. You know what I mean? He'd love to. I'm sure he'd love to win in front of Papa Bob in the home crowd. And then JB Holmes. You got Keith Mitchell as a bomb at 300 to 1. I think I'll take JB Holmes, who is at 400 to 1 on DraftKings and has an amazing record here. Absolutely amazing record. Hits it a freaking mile. Wait a minute. Let me find his record because it's so good. 400 to 1. Like, you need to jump on that right now too. Him and Steele, I think, are probably your two biggest long shot values. I mean, here's his record here. He has a 5th place finish, a 6th place finish, 16th last year. A couple top 25s in addition. He's only missed the cut twice in 11 years. Like, JB loves him some Waste Management Phoenix Open. He's also 20 to 1 for a top 10. Love that. All right, let's you got some top 10, top 20 bets, you said?
Yeah, I got a few.
What do you got?
Well, I will start with my long shot, who I mentioned, Keith Mitchell. He is also 18 to 1 as a top 10. I don't mind that number. And then top 20 bets, I got a couple here. We got Pat Perez, who is 7.5 to 1. Now, Perez lives out here. He plays, I'm sure, a ton on these courses. So I like that as a top 20 bet. And then my boy Davis Riley, who I mentioned earlier in DFS.
Yeah.
He is 20 to 1 to finish top 20. I think that's a decent bet there also. So there you go. Those are the three that I had there.
Would you rather have Davis Riley at 20 to 1 or recent amateur turned pro John Augenstein at 20 to 1? Because they're both 20 to 1, and I looked at that.
I'd go Riley.
Okay, Augenstein's
just because of tournament experience and everything else. I would go Riley.
By the way, I wanted to mention this at the top and I forgot, so this will just be all out of whack. I looked back at last week, because we were all around Patrick Reed's number, all around him. We had all kind of guys around him, and I thought to myself, what did I do? What did we do wrong? Like, how did we miss Patrick Reed? And I think this is a note that I made for myself for Torrey next year, is you don't overlook grinders at a grinder event.
Or now, Torrey for the U.S. Open, by the way.
The U.S. Opens, you're always going to think through that.
Yeah,
but the Farmers, it was a grinders event from the beginning. The weather was known to be kind of crazy. There was all this tee time wave stuff. There was wind, there was rain, there was possibly lift clean in place. There's possibly, for God's sakes, and Torrey's just anyway. And it just doesn't matter what a guy like Patrick Reed is doing at the time or coming into that event. If they're grinders by nature and they're good at grinding out in tough tournaments, you just don't overlook guys like that. And I think we did that last week, and that's a mistake to learn from. Now, TPC Scottsdale is not that. This is not a grinders event. Now, this is an event typically, not this year, but typically, where you got to kind of embrace the chaos that is the Waste Management in terms of the fans and the 16th and all that. There's certain guys that handle that better than others. Again, it's the People's Open, right? But also, just looking back at the grinders event, there are also guys who are known to not do great when conditions are rough. Like Bubba's one of those. He's not very patient, right? He's not a patient guy. He complains, he pisses, he moans about every little thing, right? So I just think, looking back at some betting mistakes, I think that's something to look at. Where were we at? Top 20s? I just sold you on JB Holmes. He's 9-1 as a top 20. I talked about Matt Neesmith, South Carolina boy. Matt Neesmith, talked about him in the DFS portion. 8-1 as a top 20. I'm looking at bombs, top 20 bombs, 8-1. Hits it a long way, trending nicely. Gained 6.6 strokes on approach last week at the Farmers. Love that. What about Sam Ryder, who's playing really well right now? How about Sam coming out of nowhere? Tall, skinny, drink of water. Playing really well right now. Iron play is very solid right now. He's also played well here. He likes this place. 7.5-1 as a top 20 is Sam Ryder. My boy Sepp Straka's 5-1 top 20. Yeah, so that's about it for me in terms of like bomb top 20 bets. I think that's all I got. I think there's some names in here that I think are overpriced. I think Horschel at 45-1 outright, Hideki at 23-1 outright are overpriced. I gave my reasons why I don't like Horschel here at all. 45-1, I would much. I mean, Gary Woodland at 75-1, Billy Horschel at 45-1. Can you explain that to me? Gary's won since Billy has. Gary's won this tournament. Billy's never won this tournament. Why is he 30 points longer? And then Hideki, you're gonna pay for the course history with Hideki, but he hasn't won in 4 years. So again, YouTube viewers, comment what's going to happen with Hideki. Is he going to win here next? Is he going to win somewhere else next, or is he never going to win again? Put the comment in YouTube. I'm interested to see people's take on Hideki.
Speaking of comments, I liked this one that I just saw in the chat from Bradley Valesky while we're talking about top 20s. He mentioned Werenski, your boy Werenski, with that hole-in-one. Little top 20 there. I like that one. I like that one. That's what I love about the chat feature. I don't like a whole lot about the chat feature, but I do like that. So,
guys, yeah, Werenski totally crotch punched me last week, embarrassed me on TikTok and everywhere. By the way, we're TikTok famous. If you guys aren't following us on TikTok, you should at Tour Junkies. We have blown up on TikTok as of today. We have a massive video, almost 30,000 views right now. We have gone from our follower count has increased like 6x today with our TikTok content. So we're about to be TikTok famous, and we're going to quit our jobs. So yeah, there you go, Sam. Look at that, Sam. He's quick on it. Follow the Tour Junkies on TikTok. Love it. All right, Pat, let's get into the final segment of the night. Welcome to the first 2021 Chunk and Run. Chunk and Run.
Wait, there you
go. There we go. There we go. There's the Chunk and Run. It is it's one of our favorite segments all year. It's where we answer a golf related question from the listeners, and then we answer a non-golf related question from the listeners. And this one was spurred on by a particular listener. Well, the first question was, it is our non-golf question. If you could cheat on something, this is in honor of Patrick Reed, in your everyday life, Pat, and get away with it, what would you cheat on? Or do you already do that? I'll let you go.
This one was difficult for me because I didn't really know. I just read the question and I didn't really know which angle you might be like aiming for, because sometimes I feel like you are. But here's what I would cheat on, because I just feel like it would make my life easier. I would cheat on anything traffic related that told me what I had to do when I'm driving. Okay. So that would mean, like, if there's a stop sign, I can cheat. I don't need that stop sign. I can go straight through it. If it's a red light and nobody's around me, I'm going right through the red light. I don't care. If it tells me to yield, screw it. I'm not going to yield. Like, if it's a one-way street, but I don't see another car coming, I want to go down that one-way street. So I want to abolish all traffic. It's telling me what to do. I know it's trying to keep people safe, but I don't like what it's trying to tell me to do. I don't want to follow any of those rules. I want to go to work and come back, or drive somewhere like on vacation and not have to follow a single traffic signal. And I'm going to cheat on it all. Like, I'm going to do my own thing in the traffic world. So
Okay.
that's really the first thing that popped in my head is I don't want to follow any traffic rules.
I get that. That's not bad. That's not bad. I went a different route, and I'm not trying to be alcoholic. Okay, I'm not trying to be alcoholic, but I would drink at work. I think it should be, if I could get away with drinking at work, I would drink at work, because I think, and I actually don't think that would lead to me drinking necessarily anymore. I think if I could drink a little bit at work, have a little bit of something, I wouldn't want to drink as bad when I got home. You know what I mean? Like, but sometimes, can you think about how much better your day would be if you could just, God, I got to go to this meeting. I'm in meeting after meeting. A boss is pissing me off. I got this going on. I'm stressed to the max. Can I just get like a little tequila? Like if I could just get a little bit of that, can you think about how much better your day would go?
No, I like that. I'm all for that.
And I'm not condoning alcoholism. I'm not doing that at all. No alcoholism whatsoever here on this show. I don't endorse. But for real though, how much easier would our work days be? So,
well, in moderation.
And I do not already do that. That is not something I already do. I've never done that. I did have a kid in college. I remember he used to come in the mornings with a screwdriver in his like coffee mug, vodka and orange juice.
Well, it brings up another point. So I will say this, like, not only should like maybe a beer or two at lunch be acceptable and not frowned upon, but I feel like napping at work should be.
Oh God, yes.
Like you should get like a little 30 minutes, 45 minutes under your desk. And you just like, if somebody walks by your cubicle and you're napping under your desk,
praise God.
Like they shouldn't frown upon that. They should be like, oh, that's Pat. It's nap time at the office. And my nap time is going to be 30 minutes from now when I usually take my nap. Like, that should be like a normal thing at work.
It's been proven in science.
Yeah, I'm for real. And I'm down with that. I might even take napping over drinking a little bit.
Yeah, I would take napping over drinking. Mm-hmm.
That's a good idea. All right. Final question is our thoughts on Patrick Reed this past weekend. We're not going to belabor this. Listen, this is a classic example of be who you can afford to be. I've said it on this podcast before. It's one of my favorite quotes. Bruce Arians throws it around a lot in the NFL. Be who you can afford to be, right? Did Patrick Reed cheat on Saturday? From what we know, from what we saw, technically, no. However, it's really hard for me to believe that when he's rooting around in that darn hole after he picked the ball out
he's looking for a mole or something,
like a young man in high school with his girlfriend. He's rooting around in that thing, dude. He was messing around a long time and palming the golf ball like that. You're getting into territory where, man, be who you can afford to be, and your ass can't afford to be much other than a cheater. So be above board. Call your playing competitors over, mark the ball, ask them to watch you, look at it. If you're going to pick up the ball, pick it up with your fingers right here and get rid of it, right? Don't be rooting around in there like you're cleaning out a shower drain or something. He's like leaning on the hole and he's like he was in there mining. Shit, he was looking for gold or something. I don't know what he was doing, but get away from it. It looked like he cheated. By definition, I guess he didn't. But I feel like he's cheated before, right? He's cheated multiple times before. He cheated in college. We have stories. We have multiple stories. He's cheated every year. He cheats. He wins every year. He cheats every year. So I feel like he walked up here and, he knew he had a volunteer that was freaking clueless. He knew he was playing with two young guys on the tour that might not call him out in Lonto Griffin and Will Gordon. And hey, listen though, but he made me feel some special. He made me feel some special things in my loins, the Ryder Cup in 2016, and I'll never forget it. But dude, he cheated, and I know Rory did the same freaking thing, except he didn't root around in the hole and then palm the golf ball. And Rory just doesn't have a record of cheating. So it's be who you can afford to be. And Reed can't afford to be anything. I mean, he needs to be beyond reproach. That's the issue. And to me, the biggest issue is the PGA Tour and like the betting aspect of it. As betting is now going to be a thing, people are going to be, this is going to be an issue, right? Like, I know I would have loved to seen him assessed a penalty. Now, ultimately, he won by 5 shots, and it wouldn't matter. But I mean, we had Ortiz and Adam Scott. I would have loved to have Ortiz and Adam Scott maybe have a 1-shot lead going into Sunday instead of being a couple behind. Maybe Reed plays it different. I don't know. But like, it's definitely a thing. The more betting comes into play, that these rules officials and these gallery people, which are just freaking old, wrinkly volunteers, like every tour stop, we see it every week. Do we not? Do we not see a clip every week of ball gets hit off the tee, player goes, oh, it's going right, and then the camera shows, and it happened this week, and there's a volunteer who's supposed to be a spotter with his back turned, looking the other direction, and the ball lands behind him, and then he just goes, huh? It literally happened at Torrey Pines this week. So you have volunteers that are clueless, that don't know what they're doing, and you have rules officials that are pandering or maybe intimidated by certain tour pros. I don't know, man. All in all, I feel like there needs to be something different from how the PGA Tour handles this thing when the betting market is not 6 states, but it's all 50.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking the volunteers and stuff like that, I don't really have much to add other than the fact that they, for one, they're doing it for free. They're not, following the golf ball off the tee isn't exactly that easy. If you're not like a golfer, it's tough. So I can't even really blame. I'm not gonna blame a volunteer because they didn't see the ball bounce.
Are you a geriatric sympathizer here? What are you?
No, but if you had a bunch of fans out there, they're going to be able to easily say, yeah, the ball bounced because there's so many. But right now, there's no fans to even look at that. But either way, what it all boils down to me is just the fact that, like, how simple is it just to look at it and say, okay, I think this ball may be embedded, but I don't know. Let me call the official over, make sure, and then move on. Now, there could be, I know there's a pace of play deal there that you could talk about, but if it's, especially when you're one of the leaders of the event, you've got to protect the field. And there's that whole aspect of it. Rory did the same thing, and what he did shouldn't happen either. So it's just, and I'm not sympathetic to Reed. Reed has brought all of this on himself. I mean, he really has. It's just, he just doesn't seem to go things. He has got this microscope on him already for being a cheater and for the perception of being a cheater, that when you get into this situation, you have to go to the to separate, to additional links to make sure that because he's already brought this on himself. It's only his own fault. So at this point, you know what? So what if it's slower or whatever? He's got to call that official over and say, I think this is an embedded ball, and then they can make that decision from that standpoint. Lanto made some comments afterwards where he said that 99% of the field of golfers probably would have gone the opposite direction, and they would have said, you know what, it's not embedded. They would have played it and gone on. And then he said that, and then it was unfortunate, all that kind of stuff. He and Xander, I think, were the two that commented
came
on
out and said, that there were some guys talking about it and weren't happy with it. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's, the biggest thing that you can hear if you're a pro golfer that should matter to you is not what Twitter says, is not what Golf Channel says and Brandel Chambly and all those folks. It should be what your peers say. Okay. So if your peers, like your Lantos, your Xander, and whoever else, if they're talking crap or whatever about it, that's what should matter to you. That should be what matters to everybody else, not what the media and whatever else and Twitter's going crazy about it when it happened. It's your peers. It's just like in your normal job, like for anybody with a real job, like you want your peers to respect you.
Yeah, he doesn't care though, man. He ain't got time for peers. The wife doesn't let him have peers. He's got his in-law family tree. That's all he's got. So he doesn't care. He wants to win golf tournament.
That isn't so. Yeah, it's still not going to do him any good.
No, it's not. No, it's not. All right, that's good. That's all we got. I mean, you can listen to 100 different podcasts about that if you want, but be who you can afford to be. He should have been beyond reproach in how he handled it. I don't even think he had to call the rules official over. Apparently, it's pretty common practice that most pros don't, but most pros call over a playing competitor to lay eyes on it with them. That's the difference. Like, call over Lonto or Will Gordon and say, "Hey guys, come here. I want you to look at this. Make sure you agree, that this ball is embedded." And then don't palm the thing and freaking root around in there like you're doing something. Creepy. Real creepy.
It's like they're playing winner rules. Just roll it in the fairways and and if it's not even a fair, maybe it's not a fairway. We'll just roll it anyway.
Hey, but again, I'm as wishy-washy on Patrick Reed as they come because I was on the hollowed Hazeltine grounds in 2016 where he just made me feel stuff in my cockles that I will not soon forget. I will, on my deathbed, remember that Sunday at the Ryder Cup. The reason we made this shirt, I have like this constant push-pull with Patrick Reed in my heart and in my soul and my gut.
I still think Ryder Cup. I mean, you look at it when we were there. You had that great battle on Sunday with Rory, but hole number 1, you and I were sitting there. He makes this, incredible par
up and down for par, yeah.
And it was on from there, and the atmosphere was just electric, and so that's the thing that keeps pulling me back, like you, to Patrick Reed. Is Captain America?
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the Waste Management Phoenix Open 2021. We're the Tour Junkies. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Don't forget, hit the like, hit the subscribe, comment on the Hideki situation, sign up for the Nut Hut, all that fun stuff. Thanks for hanging with us. We'll be back next week. Going to have a special guest next week. I'm pretty sure we're going to have a special guest next week who's going to be on the grounds at Pebble to talk about what's going on at Pebble Beach. That should be fun. Shout out. Thanks to producer Sam, the Props Network, all that good stuff. We appreciate it. May your screens be green. See ya.